Hey everyone! In this video, I wanted to show kind of a sneak peek at what I've been working on. It kind of, it sets the stage for kind of where I'm going with Cortex and kind of what I'm thinking. And this is definitely one of those things where I want this video to be a conversation. Um, Give me your feedback, give me your thoughts. The best way to do that is to obviously leave a comment down below. This is a YouTube video. This is what YouTube is for. Um, Other ways you can give me feedback is you can come to the Cortex users group every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I host a Zoom call, basically, um, where you can come talk about how you're using Cortex if you're already using Cortex, how you're thinking of using Cortex if you're in that camp, um, or ask questions of anyone who is in any of those camps. Even people who aren't using Cortex, you can ask questions, and you can ask questions of me. You can ask questions of them. Um, this is it's an opportunity for people in all stages of interest in Cortex to talk, ask questions, learn more, and give feedback to me and others as well. Um, but it's a conversation. I'm a firm believer that community is what really uh, grew Cherwell to be the powerhouse that it was. Obviously, it was a great platform, but it wouldn't have gotten as big as it did without the community, you all, and that's I want that to be a core component of what I do with Cortex. Um, so all that to say, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you can be there for any part of it, you're more than welcome. It's an hour, so 10 to 11 Pacific time. If you can come at the beginning, great. If you can't come until halfway through, that's fine too. Um, We'd love to have you chat with us about Cortex, and in this particular case, give me feedback on what I'm about to show. So let me switch over to the demo screen. And I'll log into Cortex. I realize that most of the time I don't log into Cortex, so I wanted to actually show that. This is the demo site. This is completely public. You can use this. There's a link down in the description below to this demo site. There are a few users that are set up, and the password for all of them is password. There's notes on the login screen, so um, if you forget what the password is, it tells you what the password is. This screen looks pretty much the same as it always has, but if we go to browse by business object, you'll notice a new thing over here on the left, dashboards. And I do note that it is alpha. Um, and what I mean by alpha is it is very much still under active development. Um, so the version that is on the demo site is always up to date with what I'm working on. Basically, I make a change, I save it, I push it to uh, the Git repository where I'm doing all this development, and it automatically gets deployed to the demo site. That doesn't mean that it automatically gets released as part of a version. You'll notice up in the top that the version is called out as 1.4.0. Well, there is no 1.4 version yet. The most recent released version is 1.3.1. But the version is showing 1.4 because we're working toward 1.4. And eventually there'll be an actual version 1.4 with this last number is basically a build number, will be much higher than 208. So depending on how much we add to version 1.4, it might be 1.4.0.300 something, or maybe you know around 250. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see what we add to 1.4, and a lot of that is driven by feedback from you all. So anyway, let's talk about dashboards. Um, the dashboards interface is kind of a very simple manager implementation. So in Cherwell, you'd have the manager where you have the left side, which is kind of this tree structure, and then the right side is the list of in this case, dashboards that fall into those folders. Let's go to one that everybody is familiar with, and that's the global IT dashboard. And you can see that it's definitely not done. Like, this is definitely not a matrix widget, but you can see it's starting to take shape, and some of the broader strokes are there. And pretty much what is here already is all the stuff that I could carry over from the BizOptForm implementation. So I haven't implemented things like metrics and gauges and charts and that sort of thing. Um, I I will in due time, right? First things first. Um, but this really leads to the question, why am I doing this and why have I chosen this as kind of the first thing? Um, it's kind of an exploratory uh, implementation. This by the time 1.4.0 or yeah, the true 1.4.0 gets released, this will either get taken, the alpha tag will get taken off, or the the dashboards feature will kind of get hidden. But in either case, the fact that I'm building dashboards is still important to the foundation of Cortex, um, and that's for a few different reasons. The first reason is that the more aspects of the Cherwell platform that I implement, the more expressions I run into, the more types of expressions I run into, the more scenarios uh, I discover that are potentially more uh, reflective of how individual content is going to be set up. So the more that I build, the more that I find that I didn't build already. That affects some of the other aspects of the system. For instance, if you have um, a form arrangement that's keyed on a particular expression that is typically used in dashboards, now I'll find that because I'm in dashboards. I'm doing dashboards. And the second aspect is that of all of the things that are more geared toward like day-to-day operations of Cherwell that also have applicability to Cortex as an archive tool, I feel like dashboards are kind of top of the list there. There's nothing stopping you from building a dashboard, say right now in Cherwell, um, that would be more geared toward the audit and the archival space, right? You could build a dashboard that specifically showed changes that took longer than X amount of time, right? Um, Obviously, you could also build a saved search for that particular example. You could even build something sort of like it in the new quick search builder. Um, but you could build a dashboard around something that is pretty typical for your particular compliance and data retention needs. Um, and that could be part of the way that you use Cortex. So I'm starting to think, outside of Cortex is just a static read-only view into the data and into more of an active, um, how do we find the data that we're going to need to get to, and that's where dashboards come in, right? I'm not building anything that's obviously from a day-to-day operations perspective. A dashboard is always changing, and if you go look at the dashboard on a particular day, you might see something different than you would on some other day. With Cortex, the data is not changing, so the dashboard is what you see is not going to change, but it provides kind of a more customizable entry point or a way to get deeper into that data. Um, and right now, I'm not building anything that builds dashboards because Cherwell still exists. So build a dashboard in Cherwell, and you'll be able to see it in Cortex. Um, but again, This is all very much in its infancy, this particular feature for sure. So give me feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would want to see from a dashboard um, that ideally you could build yourself, um, that would help support, your particular data compliance, data auditing, historical data access um, needs. So I'll switch back to the camera view that just shows my face. And thank you all for watching. And let me know your thoughts. Again, comment down below, come to the Cortex users group. There's a lot of links down in the description below, not just to get an invite to the Cortex users group, but also to the demo site that I just showed, and places to schedule time with me if you want to see how Cortex looks on your own data. You can also download Cortex and try it out for a bit. There are limits on that trial, but if you want to go beyond the trial, we can certainly have that conversation and make that happen. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.